So just a summary. Ethical search optimization, no black hats, very unlikely you're going to do it anyway. On-page optimization, write words in the page in the right place. Link building, people link into your content, publish some interesting content, write something that people actually want to link to. Or how-to guides, reports, case studies, anything that could be of interest to people as well. By the way, saying this is what we do and we really, we need your help and we're great, that's not interesting to people. So it needs to be something a bit beyond that as well. And that could be the hard bit, the creative bit, working out what kind of content to create. There are some tools like the keyword tool, totally out, and this is something you need to refine and review. You do it and you keep on doing it. It's about creating content, and a lot of digital marketing is about content. So, let's move on. Talk social media. I've got kind of 10-15 minutes left, so I'm going to go through some of these. There's some bits of analytics at the end. I think I might leave some of that stuff, but we'll see how we get on. What's social media? What are we actually talking about? Probably all, Facebook, Twitter, those sorts of things. Well, this is a definition from Wikipedia, which is in itself a social media website, and it says social media describes the online technologies and practices that people use to share content, opinions, insights, experiences, perspectives, and media themselves. So what we're talking about, social networks, user-generated content like YouTube, things like blogs. I want to touch on a couple of those that are really useful from a free point of view. It's not about the technology. It's the ability, but most importantly, the reason to engage. Any of us can blog, doesn't mean any of us are going to read it. Any of us can tweet, doesn't mean any of us are going to read it. It needs to be interesting. Now, interesting is relative, which I'll talk about in a moment. But content's the key thing. We need to have something interesting to say, potentially. So, best practice is you should tweet 8 to 10 times a day. You shouldn't tweet 8 times, 10 times a day unless you've got something to say 10 times a day. So, we need to look at how this is practical. What goes on in social media? Well, in 60 seconds, there are 98,000 tweets, 700,000 searches, 160 million emails. There's loads of noise. There are millions of channels. Anybody using Pinterest at all? One person using, 2 people using Pinterest. So there's these new platforms, and most people are going, it's Pinterest. So this is the key thing. It's emerging all the time. We pick the channels and we work out what best use of resource we can actually get. What are our objectives? We say, I want to get loads of likes. Why? What's the point in a like? What we need to look at in reality is how valuable is a like. The idea of a like is that someone on Facebook likes you, and then when you publish content through your Facebook page, they should see it on their timeline. Okay? The reality of that is that only 15% of the people that like you will ever see your content. Okay? And I'll explain why that is. Okay? Has anybody got a Facebook page for their organisation? So quite a few people. Okay, so this is the key issue. There's something called EdgeRank. Okay? We don't need to go into the complexities of it. It basically says this. Down here, I've got Sony Ericsson. I like their stuff because they're a client of mine. Okay? So they're now Sony Mobile, and I was liking their things. If I don't then click on this stuff whenever they post something, or interact with it, or engage with it, over a period of time, I will see less and less of that stuff. To the extent I could be seeing none of it because I never interact with it in any way. So you get your like, and then you send boring stuff the whole time. No one's going to actually see your stuff for a while anyway. And this is also a cunning ploy by Facebook to a certain extent, in that the reality is, if you want to be visible, you do have the opportunity to pay to be visible as well. So you post your content and then you sponsor it, and then it can be more visible. You can do that as an individual, by the way. So if you go to Facebook and you post something, you want all your friends to see it, you can pay to do it. So it's my birthday. You get all your friends to see it, don't think you want to do that, but the reality is it's a way of Facebook making money. So getting a like is only the first step. The reality of this is it's about a repeat and an engaged audience. 2 ends of the spectrum here. BBC, stevepavlina.com. This is a self-improvement blog. It's written on WordPress, very pretty. This website gets over 1 million visitors a month because the content's good. Well, it's right for the audience anyway. This gets lots of visitors, but this has got lots and lots of budget and journalists and so on. So what have they got in common? Well, it's the right audience for the right content. This is all about how to be more efficient in your day-to-day life. How to do all sorts of strange things like polyphasic sleeping. How do you sleep every half an hour, every 4 hours, instead of sleeping at night? All kinds of weird stuff. We look at this and go, this just isn't for me at all, this content. But for the target audience, that's right. So it's the right content for the right audience. So this leads us on to blogs. Blogs can be a big influence on the search engines. Okay? We've got 2 options. We can go off to some of these websites here, and we can find out what people are blogging about. We can put a word in, and all of these will recommend blogs on that topic. So we could then go to those bloggers and say, we're this organisation, we're doing this stuff, could you link back to it, potentially? Would you talk about the stuff we're doing? Bloggers have become key influencers, but they've also, a lot of blogs don't even get read. So we need to try and work out how influential a blog is. The reality though is, should we be blogging ourselves? Well, maybe. But what's really important here, WordPress is a blogging platform. Okay, it's free. You can go to wordpress.com and you can start a blog in 5 minutes. myblog.wordpress.com. The problem with that is any links going to it are actually going to WordPress, so it's not a standalone thing. What you can do is you're able to download the software here. Now, in terms of downloading, you do need some technical knowledge to download it and install it, but you can get a developer to do that for you in about 2 or 3 hours. Okay? If you need any development work done, like building websites, those things really, really cheaply, there's an absolute brilliant website called elance.com. So elance.com, you go on and you say, I want a WordPress website set up and I want it customised a little bit, and you'll have thousands of people around the world come back and give you quotes to do it. Okay? Average quote for setting up a WordPress website, customising it, and so on, about $200. So about £110. Okay? So it's not free, but it's fairly cheap for getting a customised website. The reason I recommend WordPress, it's not just for blogging. It's actually, it can be used as a website platform. So if you need to build a small website, WordPress is an absolutely brilliant tool for doing it as well. The other thing I'd recommend, I used to run agencies, and I've run quite a few agencies, and I work with lots of the worldwide kind of Omnicom agencies now as well. If you go to a mid or a kind of big agency and say, we're a voluntary organisation, we need some help in doing this, could you donate a number of hours to us as well? A lot of the agencies have CSR policies where they donate time. So if you can associate with their CSR policy, there's a good opportunity to actually get some of this stuff done for free as well. So again, if you need any contact details afterwards, drop me an email and I'll try and point you to the right kind of people as well. They might not like me for throwing lots of people at them to do free work, but we'll see how we get on as well. So WordPress is a good opportunity. Facebook, this is my Facebook page, 7,000 whatever likes we've got on here. What do? We write content on our website and then we point back to it. And we say, we've got a report, we've got a blog that we've written, we've recorded a podcast. And then people come and say, oh, that's great, thanks. And they go and look at the website. This just drives traffic to the website. There's almost no time that goes into managing this. So it's a few minutes a week. Now, with this, the great thing is as well, what you get is a load of this stuff. Okay? Facebook Insights. What is this? This is telling you which bits of the content you publish people like, and which they don't. So you can just see here, these little purple dots, and me publishing content. I can see in green how many people are engaging with that content. So basically, if I publish something and the green goes up, it means they were interested in it. If it doesn't, they weren't. So it's an indicator for me in terms of what people are actually interested in and what they're interested in as well. On your Facebook page, at the top, there's a little admin panel, and it just says Insights. You get loads and loads of stuff like this as well. Again, drop me an email and I'll point you at some guides to use all these kind of things as well. Because there's lots of good resources online, quite easily understandable stuff, it's just filtering out what's good content and what's not. Google Plus, we mentioned this, it's Google's own social network. It's pretty much like Facebook. Okay? The reality is people aren't really using it. However, if you've got a Facebook page and you're posting stuff to it, there's very little reason not to open up one of these and just post the same stuff through. Best practice says you shouldn't post the same stuff to do different networks. However, with Google Plus, at the moment, it's fine. Because we'll work out a strategy for doing it in the future. You know, if we need to do different stuff, fine, we'll work out what happens. But at the moment, if you post stuff through here, what will happen is they'll start to recognise your website. Because what you do is you link your website to this and this to your website. What's the benefit of that? Well, there's a real practical one. There's a friend of mine, he's looks after e-commerce at Lizelle, which is a company that sells makeup and so on. He set up a Google Plus page, links it to his website, links his website to his Google Plus page. When you search their brand name, they now get this massive thing over on the side of the page as well for free. So this means you've got loads more visual impact as well. Just by having a Google Plus page that takes it probably 10 minutes a week to update. So there are some advantages to doing these kind of things as well.